Welcome to the episode 2 of the Kilo Talk podcast. My name is Wesley McKnight, and I'm here with my co-host Nick Sia, and then our first guest, Ricky Shipe. How's everyone doing?
Not too bad, man. How are you?
Oh, not bad. How about you, Ricky?
Doing good over here. No complaints.
That's awesome. I was going to crack a beer with you today on the podcast, but went a little too hard last night with the Trulies, so I'm still feeling it a little bit.
Maybe if you stop buying trash, like that wouldn't happen, Wes.
Yeah, but so Ricky, let's start out by just telling everyone a little about yourself. So kind of just tell us your weight or what weight class you compete in, your meet PRs. Give us a little experience about your your powerlifting experience is, and then how'd you get started in powerlifting?
Yeah, so I'm Ricky. I compete in the 82.5 weight class in the USPA. I've only done one meet so far, but that was at the Holiday Havoc in Fairmont, West Virginia. And I guess you could say I'm kind of a bench specialist because I'm pretty bad at the other two. But I hit a 330 bench at I weighed in the day before right at 180 flat. So I hit 330 for bench and then 408 squat and 440 pull. But I did so I totaled at 1176, and on my last deadlift I went full send and was like, yeah, I'm gonna take a 40-pound jump and try 475, and I got it to my knees and I was like, nah, I think we're gonna stop now.
Yeah, I still remember you telling me you made that call. And I was like, all right, man, I mean, go for it. But hey, it's still
yeah, if only someone
impressive.
told you to kind of take like a 25-pound jump to like 465.
Well, yeah, I could have done that, but I wanted that 1200 total, man.
Fair enough.
Sometimes you're lifting with your ego a little bit, and that was one of those times.
Oh, definitely. We've all been there, that's for sure.
I'm still there, so.
And with that being my first meet, like everybody told me going into it, like you're gonna do something stupid and you're gonna mess something up or you're gonna bomb something that you were not supposed to. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. I know what I'm doing. I did not know what I was doing.
Yeah, I tell that a lot to new lifters when I kind of work with them. I mean, obviously you had a lot more lifting experience going in than some of the members of our team. But I always tell everyone, I'm like, you're going to do something dumb. You're going to miss a stupid call or not listen to a command or whatnot. But I mean, that's still very impressive numbers for your first meet, and definitely have a lot to grow on for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. This whole as last episode of your guys' podcast talked about the whole Corona issues here. It's put a little bit of a hindrance on it, and we're all just kind of lifting in people's basements and doing the best we can to get by. And I mean, the heaviest weight I can do right now with the guys I've been lifting with is like 200 pounds for bench and squat, and I'm like, man, I gotta do cardio here because I'm repping this stuff out. It's weird because I'm not used to training like that, and these guys train like they're trying to be bodybuilders and all that. So I'm like, dude, I'm not used to this. We did like 3 sets of squats, and I'm like, okay, I'm tired. I need a nap now. Why are we not taking 5-minute breaks in between sets? Like,
jeez,
I'm used to taking a 10-minute break while Ron talks for 10 minutes at me and Steve hauling plates around. So I mean, you're usually talking to the boys and stuff. So
yeah, for sure. So something that I don't think a lot of people know is that you actually spent the summer in Australia, and you had the opportunity to be around kind of the powerlifting community there. So could you kind of elaborate on how different that is from what you see in the States here?
So I mean, there's a lot that's really similar, but it ran really smooth. So like, I went to Powerlifting Australia Nationals in Melbourne, and everything just went so smooth because I mean, Robert Wilkes is in charge of all of that. He's the president of Powerlifting Australia, so he's pretty much running the whole thing. And I mean, they've got it down really well. They know what they're doing. The one lady, her coach is Joey Zingini. Her name is Kelly Fagan, and her husband lives in New York State, but she lives in Australia. And she was talking about going back and forth because she's competed in both the U.S. and in Australia. And she's like, "There's some things that are a little bit better how you guys run it with your because her husband competes in USPA as well. And there's some things that USPA does a little bit better, but Powerlifting Australia does a little better. And they're kind of just trying to mix everything together to make everything run as smoothly as possible. But it was really cool to be able to get down there, and because I worked out in Joey's gym the whole time I was down there in Wollongong in New South Wales, and just I was making pretty good money working in the coal mine over there. So I was like, yeah, I can spend a couple $100 and fly down, spend a couple days in Melbourne and go watch and see what this is all about. And that was the first meet I ever went and watched. So that was just really cool because you got some of the best lifters in Australia there. Like we got to watch JP Couchy and Matt Bartholomew, and there's just a lot of really good, solid guys that are big in the Australian side there. And then I ended up going to the after party, like the award ceremony, and like I didn't have any clothes dressed up. Like I didn't pack anything because I was like, I'm gonna go watch people lift. I'm not going to a fancy dinner. So everyone shows up in like slacks and button ups, and I've got a Massonomics bench heavy T-shirt on. So
if anyone that knows Ricky, this is the type of stuff he wears almost daily. So I could just see him walking in to this fancy.
Yeah, I got on a pair of jeans and cowboy boots and a bench heavy T-shirt, sitting across from Robert Wilkes eating a $70 fancy dinner with multi courses and all this. And I'm like, dude, what am I doing here? How did I get here?
That's awesome. Yeah, I tell you what, I see a lot of the stuff they're doing. I know I follow kind of Pro Raw and Big Dogs a lot over in Australia, and I've heard and seen really good things out of both those meets. So I don't know kind of the details of some of the powerlifting culture that you were able to experience, but it seems like it's definitely going strong, and that's an awesome opportunity you had to go and just kind of experience powerlifting in a different country where a lot of people do not get that opportunity.
Yeah, it was really awesome. One of the strangest things about working out over there is they don't have pounds anywhere, so everything's kilos. So you got to figure out how to count real quick. Like
that's awesome. So I guess I got to ask, kind of, what's your goals moving forward with powerlifting? When's the next time you expect to compete, and kind of what numbers are you looking to put up?
So I was supposed to do USPA drug tested nationals in Columbus. Well, it would have been should have been in June, but that got pushed back to September with all the coronavirus stuff. So I really want to do the North American drug tested one because that is the day that I compete is November 7th, and then I turn 24 on November 8th. So I compete the last day of me being a junior lifter. So I'm trying to fly out to, well, if hopefully I'm living in Nevada at that point, but trying to go out to California and compete in that. So if as soon as this all blows over, hopefully I'll be starting my career as an engineer in northeastern Nevada. And I've been looking into some meets out there, and there's one in Salt Lake City in mid August, mid to early August. So I might try to do that if things work out. If not, then I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. What numbers are you looking to hit kind of in that time frame, you think?
Well, I mean, I don't know where I'm at with all my training and stuff because I haven't been able to grab the weights I'm used to grabbing. But I'd like to hit around a 350, 360 bench, and then I'd like to knock on the door of a 500 deadlift, which that might be a bit aggressive of a goal, but I almost hit that 475, so I don't think 500 is too far off the tracks here. And then squat's a mystery because I don't know how to do that. So so maybe like 440, 450 would be pretty cool.
Awesome.
Some awesome goals there.
Yep, definitely. So I think we want to spend a little time every episode kind of dive into some powerlifting news. Obviously, with the corona going on, there's really not a whole lot going on, but there were some things that we kind of saw, and I want to get you guys' opinions on. So first thing first, I don't know if you saw early last week, this Mitchell Paz, his Instagram title or handle is Police Fitness. There's a little issue with a post he made about the Showdown meet. So basically what it was is the Showdown meet posted a Instagram post showing all the 198 lifters. So just kind of advertising the battle of the 198. 198s, and he made a comment on that post, and I'm gonna pull it up here real quick. And the comment was, I would say great, but definitely wouldn't say the absolute best. Let's get a state cop battling the pandemic who just squatted 725, benched 425, and deadlifted 800, risking your life, saving lives, and closing in on 1900 plus total at 198. That's what it's really all about, giving back to the people who give to you. So he made this comment on this post basically saying, hey, get me in this meet, even though the showdown meet itself has some very strict qualifying standards. I mean, they basically went through and looked at Wilks and took the top 50 men, top 50 women, and that's who's going to compete. So basically where this is at, though, is he does not have a 1,900-pound total. His best total is 1,730 at 220s, and this wasn't even the last year. So he and most of these lifters are looking at in the 198s have above an 1,800-pound total. So he really is kind of looking for special treatment because of the pandemic going on. And again, I have to say, I'm very thankful for all the men and women helping keep everyone safe right now. But what are you guys' kind of opinions on this statement made? Because there was a ton of pushback on this in the powerlifting community.
I mean, so I'm kind of along the same boat as you there, where I'm very thankful for everyone that's working right now, especially those in law enforcement or working in hospitals, kind of on the front lines of this. So when you brought this up to me, I think earlier this week, I kind of looked into it and saw that he actually deleted that comment, number one. And number two, he kind of walked it back and said, like, oh, no, I wasn't asking for special treatment. Like, I've just been injured and haven't been able to compete. And, like, my job's really hard. So I would just ask them to consider letting me in, which I don't think really changes the whole, like, issue with that. Just because, hey, man, you haven't competed 220 before, not to my knowledge. Actually, I have his open powerlifting up right now.
Yeah, I think he's only competed 220. I think he has never competed 198. And then I'm pretty sure his total in the last year was only around 1,600. And I get it might be an injury or whatnot, but it just seems like this meet, and I like how they're doing this, where they're kind of looking at the top 50 Wilks for the last year, and it's a very strict qualification standard for the meet itself. So I don't understand kind of his thought process behind this, really.
Yeah, and it kind of comes down to, where do your priorities lay? You obviously have a very important job, and at the end of the day, this is just a hobby for all of us, and this isn't his income. So I don't really see the point in, not really begging, but asking for any sort of leniency when it comes to being invited into a meet.
Yep. What's kind of your thoughts on it, Ricky? I don't know if you saw any of this past week, but
I'm going based off of what you guys just told me because I didn't really hear about it. But I mean, it just you can't. I mean, it is like if you have the total or you don't have the total, that's how it works. I mean, if they take the top 50 and you're not the top 50, you don't make it. I wouldn't personally go out and ask for special treatment just because I'm doing something like a more difficult type job. Like, I mean, I've worked in the coal mines, and I wouldn't say that like, hey, I was a coal miner. I've been 2,000 feet underground. I should get this special treatment to be able to go and do this. It's a little bit different, but like, those guys are in a similar situation too, where they're 2 feet away from each other all day, every day. They can't practice that social distancing because that's not how the equipment and gear works underground. So,
yeah,
I mean, that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. I not really, I guess, crapping on him that much. I respect what he's doing. I just think it is kind of an odd comment. There was a ton of pushback in the community on this. I think a lot of the comments have been deleted now. But I know like Garrett Fear was very opinionated on it, and I mean, deservedly so. I mean, are you really going to work to be an elite level lifter, and then you have someone that thinks they should be automatically in it and say, hey, I mean, his wording was, I'd say great, but not the absolute best. I mean, these guys are the absolute best. That's why they're there. So I do see how that's kind of a little bit of a knock on them, him thinking like, hey, yeah, I'm doing all these other things, but I mean, I can't, because he's not getting it done on the platform, but I should still be involved in this meet. But I don't know. We'll see. Maybe something else more will come out of it in the future. But
I mean,
the next, oh, go ahead.
I mean, a different idea would be like to have a specific like first responders meet where like you bring in all sorts of different like police and firefighter and all this kind of different people and have like a big fundraiser like meet like that. I think that would be a pretty cool idea to tackle this in a different direction.
Yeah,
If I'm not mistaken, sorry, Wes, go on.
I was just gonna say I completely agree. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that used to be a thing like a little bit ago. I'm not sure if it still is a thing, but there used to be like a military, like firefighter and police championships. I can't remember which federation it was, but it existed at some point.
Yeah, I have seen that. Some of the guys back home in Parkersburg have competed in those type of federations, and I can't remember exactly if it's a division of a certain federation or it's kind of just a federation itself. But yeah, I do think that's a thing. And honestly, I think it'd be cool. Maybe I've seen. I was training with Matt McGuire yesterday, and he was talking about a virtual meet coming up with. I think I can't remember who's doing it. I do, but I think that'd be kind of a cool fundraising type of thing, maybe, is if they would look at some of their first responders, the nurses, and people like that, and maybe do some like a virtual meet through like their garage gyms if they have one. I mean, that would be pretty cool as well. And I think he is right. I mean, we should respect these guys in the community that are in our community that are really out there risking their lives right now, and we should have a lot of we should want to do something for them. I just don't know if this was the right way to go about it, trying to kind of almost diss on other lifters because you want a spot in a meet.
Also, gym lifts don't count.
Gym lifts do not count. That is true. He is stating these numbers, and I think they're all. I mean, I saw 800, or I think it was 800-pound pulls with straps. And there's a couple other things that were a little iffy on his lifts. So I don't think you can really compare and say you're at a 1,900-pound plus total, which was in his comments, if you've never even been within 200 pounds of that in a meet. So, but
well, I mean, that's like any of us saying like, hey, like we're engineering students, we don't sleep that much, we are in a really hard major, but like our estimated 1 rep maxes based on like our set of 12s is like, you know, a 1,700-pound total at whatever weight class. Like I think we should be invited to so and so meet. Like that's like to me that's almost the same level of what's happening right now, because it's so many ifs and buts to even like barely scratch the surface of the criteria to be even invited.
Oh yeah, definitely, I agree. So the next thing I kind of wanted to jump into, and Nick, I kind of want you to take this one over, is more about, there's been some news come out this week about the different point systems we kind of see in lifting. So the Wilks, the DOTS, the IPF points, good lift points. And there's recently been some changes in what formulas federations are using. I know Nick's kind of got the information on this. So go ahead and kind of just let us know what's been going on the past week.
So, I mean, even this year, Wilks 2020 came out, which is the updated formula to the original Wilks formula. Then Open Powerlifting made and really a lot of people, it wasn't just Open Powerlifting, they made a big push to start using the DOT system, which is, to my knowledge, a very similar point system to the Wilks formula. It just gets rid of a little bit of biases and kind of the issues that were present in the original Wilks formula, such as the kind of bias against middle weightlifters, I think the gap between men and women, all that stuff. Then I think last year, maybe the year before, I think it was last year, the IPF came out with their own point system called IPF points. But to my knowledge, this past week or so, they came out with something called good lift points, or GL points, which completely kind of threw off the whole scale of things, because according to OpenIPF, Jesse Norris has the highest amount of GL points with 121, when kind of powerlifters, we're typically used to seeing, you know, point values of 500-600 for elite lifters. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I'm kind of along the line of like, who cares? I think so many point systems are really dumb, and part of me just says like, just kind of know what's impressive for a weight class.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that, and that's one thing I struggle with powerlifting. The powerlifting culture as a whole right now is it's just so pushed towards trying to see who is the overall best all time. And it's very odd to me because we have these weight classes to kind of look, and people can compete directly by making this weight, and you could be the very maximum amount of body weight possible and still compete, and that would be optimal a lot of times. And it's like we have this structure, but yet every federation, every lifter, and they just wants to compare a 300 pounder to a 308 to a 165. And to me, that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I do like, and we kind of talked about Australia earlier. I know like Pro Raw has I think like 4 different weight divisions, and really all the money is dispersed through those classes, and they're bigger, but like it just gives people an opportunity more to compete. So it's very odd to me that we're chasing almost the perfect formula constantly. When really, I think we should be looking more at totals for the weight class.
No, I totally agree. And I think what a lot of people get wrong about this is kind of, I think there's a little bit of mystique about the methodology used for this. And there's a lot of people out there who work on these formulas that are a lot smarter than I am. But at the same time, I don't think there's a perfect formula at all, because there's always going to be outliers. And powerlifting as a whole is just complex system to deal with. So it's hard to capture all of that accurately and produce a formula that can give you that kind of information.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're the strongest person, you're the strongest person. It should be, I mean, in your weight class, if you're the strongest guy, you win. I don't really see the whole point of having a billion different sets of point systems.
Yeah, I mean, because it even gets to the point now where they're trying to compare males to females using these formulas, and I just don't see the point in that. I really don't. I mean, if you look on open powerlifting right now, I'm pretty sure the I think the top few Wilks are all females. But how do you compare the two? To me, it's two different. It's two different categories, and they shouldn't be compared. So I don't know. And like I said, the whole community wants a formula to be able to compare you against someone else. And to me, I just really think it's kind of dumb that we keep chasing these point systems.
The only thing that is good for is to be able to talk shit when you have like a half a Wilkes point more than Wes McKnight. That's all I know.
Is that the case?
I believe I have you beat by a half a point.
Oh no! I'll have to do another meet soon before your next. But I think Nick's the only one here at the 400 Wilks. Am I right?
Yeah. So Alan Thrall and Omar Isaf actually put up a video that it was kind of like a shit powerlifter say video, and they were kind of poking fun at both USAPL and USPA lifters. So for like their USAPL prototype, it was like a junior lifter with a 402 Wilks that just like is super like meticulous about everything he does, like refuses to go off program, and it's just kind of like a stick in the mud. And that's like me to a T. I have a 403 Wilks. I rarely go off program, and I don't want to say I don't do dumb shit in the gym, but like I try to stay away from it as much as I can. And
yeah, I don't know about that, Nick. I think we might have to post your West Side monolift squat on our Instagram page.
That was on.
I think you're lying to all the listeners right now. You might be the one that goes off program more than anyone.
I mean, that week was I wasn't on program that week, so there was no program to go off of. And if I want to do Buffalo Bar reverse band squats with chains, then I should be able to do that.
Yep. All right. So is there anything else you guys kind of want to touch on there, or are you guys ready to move on to the next point?
No Wilks in the jungle, right?
There is no Wilks in the jungle. That is correct. But so next thing, really just kind of go into talk more about the Corona. What have you guys been doing as far as training? I know I still see some videos from you, Nick, out there with your outdoor setup, but kind of house training going the past couple of weeks. What are you doing to stay active if you can't really lift like you normally have?
I find that kind of staying active and staying in that routine is probably the best thing to do right now. And that's kind of like a tailored to my situation thing, because I'm lifting outside, so I can really only lift when it's above like 40 degrees, or else I just, it sucks. But even then, like lifting on gravel really, really sucks too.
Yeah.
Just because, you've got loose rock everywhere. The ground isn't solid, so the more you deadlift, the more the bar gets pushed into the ground and all that stuff, and it's just hard to find your balance. So I'm not training normally right now, but it's about as close as I can get.
What about you, Ricky? I know you mentioned a little bit about your new bodybuilding training, I guess. So
Yeah.
how often are you lifting right now? Are you feel like you're able to stay active, and or you feel like you're losing pretty much everything at this point?
I don't think I'm losing everything, but it's definitely not what I'm used to. I don't think that the whole like super extreme volume of like what a bodybuilding type program would be is necessarily a bad thing. And I do think that it will help build strength because I mean Matt McGuire said that the other day in one of our group messages about how it might be better if we took more of a bodybuilding approach to our off seasons rather than just go full prep all the time, all in. That way you can kind of rebuild and restructure a little bit. So I don't think it's going necessarily that bad, but I mean, we don't have the space to get in like a proper deadlift or whatever, and bodybuilding guys don't really like doing deadlifts. So, um, I mean, it's a little bit different, and I mean, the rack's a little sensitive and it's not bolted down. So if I got bands on and I'm doing, a 200-pound bench with 100 pounds of bands or something like that, then I'm like gonna break the whole building. But you know, it's
Yeah.
it's better than nothing. And I mean, this kind of tags into what we're gonna talk about next. But I found that those plates and bars and stuff on the Facebook Marketplace for relatively cheap.
Mhm.
So with that, I mean, I have a couple of dumbbell handles and enough plates that we've put together a single 100-pound dumbbell the other night, and we're doing dumbbell rows with the 100. So I mean, we have enough stuff that I mean we can get in a good workout, and it's I don't feel like I'm losing too much, but I also am eating like garbage. Like my diet is bad. So
Yeah. Yeah. I do think this would be a good time. I know I personally I've really tried to up my calories the last few weeks. Obviously my training hasn't been real ideal. I did work out with Matt yesterday. He's got a pretty good setup in his girlfriend's basement, which I don't know how he suckered her into that one, but apparently he did. So I went and trained a little bit. First time I really did anything decently heavy on squat and bench in the last few weeks, but I've really been trying to eat a lot, and I'm hoping maintain as much as I can. But I think he'll come back for everyone quick. And it looks like we have some good news. I know Nick and I were talking a little bit off air about the gyms look like they might be opening up here in the next few weeks again. So hopefully we can all get back to training.
I sure hope so. I'm having pro performance withdrawals.
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. You never realize how I know I go and complain about the little things about pro every once in a while, but you never know how good you have it till it's gone. And that is so true right now. I would do anything just to go work out right now at pro.
Yeah, I mean, I never thought that I would take like lifting on a flat ground for granted, but here I am just wanting some flat ground to lift on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and I know a lot of the like you guys. So have you guys both bought equipment at this point?
Yeah.
Okay.
I bought a $15 dip stand. The rest was just kind of like a wooden DIY rack and whatever weights I had, like I already had from like 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what like Ricky is saying. Our next topic, we've seen our fair share of shitty Craigslist and Facebook market deals on lifting equipment the past couple of weeks. Apparently, people decided that it was a good idea to start marking it up when you can in the middle of a pandemic. So I don't know what you guys have thought. I know Nick has a couple lists here of some stuff he saw, but really just some crazy prices on equipment that people are trying to resell for right now used.
Yeah, I mean, so I guess I can kind of start with saying like I think Coop from Garage Gym Review said this is like, yeah, this is kind of like market demand, market price type thing. So if people are willing to pay outrageous prices for equipment, then people are going to continue to price gouge. But I mean, I've seen some absolutely crazy things. Those like adjustable dumbbells from Bowflex were selling for $2,000, and those DIY racks that everyone's doing with like the cement bucket and everything, people are making those and selling them at like 4 times the price of the cost. Like mine cost about $50 to make, and I found them on Facebook Marketplace for like $200. That's like insane.
Yeah, that's absurd. Yeah.
Understand.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
That's what I was saying. Where we saw that $500 power bar the other day. I know we've bought a few power bars with the powerlifting team at this point in time. And it's just crazy to me because you can still get them from Rogue right now, right? Or are they just sold out completely?
Yeah.
I think we might have lost Nick.
Yeah, I think they're slowly are coming back in stock. Like a few go up every day, and if you catch it at the right time, you can buy them. But it's not like a constant stock in demand. Like you can't just go in and buy like 6 of them. I think they have like a limited supply right now, and it's like as they are producing more and making more, they're just uploading what they have onto their website.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if someone will buy it, you might as well sell it for that price. But yeah, there's a lot of different, pretty terrible deals out there right now, which I mean, I think there's some good deals too. Like you said, you got a pretty good deal on some equipment. I know Matt was telling me he bought a bar and some plates for like $75. And I was like, that's pretty good. So I think you just kind of got to dig and then you eventually find the right deal. And I'll be interested to see, I know Nick and I touched on it a little bit last week. What's going to happen after this is all over? Like, is everyone going to sell their equipment? And like, you might be able to find a surplus. You might be able to find a nice garage gym for not much money if everyone's just trying to sell stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I think. That's what'll happen. Really, is everybody went out and bought all this stuff because it was an emergency in their eyes. And I mean, as soon as the gyms open back up, what you feel in a home gym is not what you get in like a real gym when you have the whole crew there and like everybody's hyping each other up. So, and at least in powerlifting, it's nice to be able to go to a big gym where everybody's like going nuts for you. So, but also, I mean, there's advantages to having a home gym. So there's a little bit of give and take with it. And I think it'll be a fair mix of it, but I think a pretty good amount of people start selling their stuff back off. And they're going to lose a lot of money on it. And because I'm not spending all my money on it, I'm going to get some cool shit for cheap.
That's what I was thinking. I've been looking at apartments for my move last weekend, and I've been looking for places that have like nice garages or basements, because I tell you what, I'm at the point now where I do want to just kind of build a home gym. I think it'd be better for my training. So we'll see. I might be looking for some steals at the end of this as well, but we'll see.
Yes.
I'll be real interested to see if people do go back to their gyms. And like I said, we had a little bit of a discussion last week. I do think some of these gyms are going to be hurting. So not only can you buy equipment that people have bought to get through this for their garage gym, I think you might see a lot of public gyms starting to sell off some stuff as well.
So I think like kind of moving forward.
He made it back.
Yeah, sorry. Like it was really choppy at first, and I was trying to listen to see if you guys asked me anything. I think you did, but sorry.
No, you're good.
But basically, like if you look at prices right now, I mean, people are price gouging, but will that really stop when people kind of sell stuff? And what I mean by that is people don't really know, like, or I wouldn't say all people, but a lot of people don't really know the worth of what they have. So I think you guys might have touched on this, but I mean, plates are selling right now, like really old, crappy, rusty iron plates are selling for $2 a pound. And that is pretty much how much we paid for our brand new set of Rogue calibrated plates.
Wow.
So that's just like insane to me. So I'm kind of wondering that people are going to be selling stuff for cheap, but people are also still going to be price gouging. So do you think that it'll kind of level off where people will see, oh, you know, this piece of garbage is going for like double what list price is. I should sell it for double list price.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say is it can only go to a certain point, because eventually, once this is kind of we're reopening up, like Rogue's going to have, anyone can do a little research and you can realize you go to Rogue and get the bars and the plates for a set price. Like that's not going to go up. So it'll be interesting to see. I think I don't know. We'll see what the future holds on it, I guess.
Yeah, and to kind of touch on what you said earlier, but we might see gyms selling their equipment too. So I really do think we're in for a very, very large influx of used, almost brand new gym equipment in a few months. And even then, I would imagine when most gyms close, or not most, but when gyms that need to close do close, they just want to get rid of that stuff and just get whatever they can back. And with a relatively competitive market coming up, it's going to be kind of tough to really sell everything, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, so just to dive into one thing, I know Nick and I talked about a little bit last week, Ricky. Kind of where do you see collegiate powerlifting going from this whole COVID situation? I know I don't know if you mentioned this in your intro, but Ricky is one of our officers of the West Virginia Powerlifting Club. So, what do you kind of think the future holds for collegiate powerlifting?
I mean, with everything that's going on right now, it's pretty tough. That most of us are broke as it is, so like we can't afford to go out and go buy all this brand new equipment. So we're all hurting. A lot of us are in small apartments and don't have the space to set up a whole home gym, or just I mean all sorts of situations like that. So most of the majority of college powerlifters are not able to get in a proper training right now, and I'm a little worried that people are going to be disappointed with that, and their numbers are going to go down, and they're going to be like, you know what, I'll find a different hobby. We're going to move on from this. But the people that are truly dedicated are finding ways to still do the best that they can with what they have. So I mean, I don't think it's gonna be a massive growth in the next couple months, but I think it'll kind of plateau and still be around level, and then maybe start picking up once like full in-person classes are back underway. So with the whole online thing, everybody's in different locations and don't have access to their standard college gyms and stuff.
Thank you for joining us today, being our honorary first guest. Let everyone know if they want to go see your shenanigans, lifting shenanigans, I guess. Where can they find you on Instagram or any other social media?
Yeah, Instagram is your best bet. I'm always posting dumb stuff. I have been known to wear multiple different colors of leggings at different times. I jean shorts to squat in and cowboy boots. You know, you just got to do whatever you got to do. I cut off flannel here and there. There's a picture of a redneck Nick somewhere from with a cut off flannel on, and that's a good one there because you don't see a whole lot of redneck Asian dudes. So I'll dig it up. Trust
I
me, I got
definitely have to
this.
say Ricky's probably the most interesting member of the team.
I bring a lot to the table.
Yeah, maybe. So let
Steve's up there.
everyone know where they can find you on Instagram so they can see
Yeah,
all your shenanigans.
at Shipe57, SHIPE57. You can find me there. That's me.
That's awesome. So Nick, what about you? Just to let everyone know. And I am also on Instagram at WesMcKnight7. And go ahead while you're on there and give our podcast Instagram a follow at Kilo Talk. You can find us now. I know this week, but you can find us on Spotify and be YouTube by the day this releases, or you can look at go through the link in our Instagram profile. I think Spotify is really what we're wanting to push. So make sure to subscribe or give us a follow, and hopefully we can. I think we had 5 followers when I checked the other day, so let's try to make it to 10 next week. How about that, Nick? Yes. So okay, well, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, boys.